Okay, so that was the motivation and that was the start of it all, right? To see that we grow and then we move from just consumers to become capitalists, right? To be able to control assets, control wealth, and grow. And also, I figured that um, building such a community, growing wealth in that area and all tends to be, should I say, easier, though not entirely easy, but then um, it's easy to grow than actually building a business, than actually investing in a business and supporting a business. Why do I feel that? Is because I will explain as we go on, right? It's easy for you to, save up and grow it under an investment portfolio than saving up to start a business. All right. Because now, whatever any meaningful business you're going to start in Nigeria today, you should be looking at 5 to 10 million naira upward, right, for something that will grow and scale. And you know that, yeah, you are building a business and a proper structure around it. But then when you look at stocks and investing, you could start with as low as even $50,000. I mean, 50,000 naira, and continue to grow in that light. So that was the motivation to. So those are part of the motivation to start this, and that brings us to tonight. Um, So again, I'm deliberately recording this so that those who are not here and are interested will be part. I've reviewed I reviewed almost all our um, applications, and there were a lot of things that I've seen to say, okay, if we're going to journey together, we need to work upon, and that was one of the major reasons why we need to have this class to actually look at, okay, understand what it is we are doing, understand the scope, right, and understand the kind of mindset that is essential for it, the kind of mindset that is needed for what it is that we want to build, and that is why we're having this slide. So the first thing, yeah, this topic I deliberately title it to say uh, the architecture, right? The architecture of wealth, right? The architecture of wealth, because that is actually what we want to do. I want us to understand the structure to wealth, because the goal is to move us from consumers to capitalists, for us to move from just scrapping, right, feeding from hand to mouth, to see in ourselves in the near future, where we need to be, right? So, and the first thing I'm going to say is that this is the philosophy behind whatever we are trying to do, we are trying to build here, okay? Is that we're not looking to get rich quick, we're not looking to get rich now, right? We're looking to get rich and sustain it, okay? One of my leaders once made a quote that I hope I'm able to remember now. He said, uh, in your 20s, you work hard, in your 30s, you work smart, all right? Um, in your 40s, you you work when you need to, right? In your 50s, you work anytime you want. So that in your 60s, you work if you want. All right. So okay, let me take it again. I hope I'm able to get it. He said, in your 20s, you work hard, in your 30s, you work smart, in your 40s, you work when you need to, right? In your 50s, you work anytime you want. In your 60s, you work if you need to. I'll be able to get a sequence. The sequence is just to say that you should be able to retire rich and young, right? That is to say, in your 50, you decide exactly what you want to do if you want to do it, right? And that is the goal. So that you understand that, see, it's not a 3 year plan, it's not a 4 years plan. It's something that we're looking to say, we want to build something that is sustainable. So if you plan to get rich in 3 years, the truth is you will lose everything, right? If you plan to get rich in 10 years, you are almost guaranteed to succeed. And that is the first mindset I want us to have while going into this. So the first part I will be talking about tonight is the foundation, okay? The cash flow and the discipline. The cash flow and the discipline. So that's the first fundamentals that we'll be looking at in this class. I hope everybody can see my screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, yes, we can see your screen, sir.
All right. Okay, good. Thank you. So um, the fundamentals, right? The fundamentals. Now, the engine, right? The engine, the life breath of this is cash flow, right? And I'm using this analogy, the river and the dam philosophy, right? Most people focus on, their income, the river, right? They earn, they spend, it's just more like water flows away. Okay. But then if you're looking to say, okay, you want to build wealth, you want to build something that outlasts you, then you must bring in an understanding to say you must learn to dam it. You must learn to dam it, right? Investment is actually not what make you rich. Investment actually lives to keep you rich. All right. Your work, your business, your career is actually what makes you rich. And that is where I want to start from. Right? All of us, whatever it is you do, you cannot look to say you want to go into venture into investments, venture into building wealth if you do not have a cash flow, if you do not have a source of revenue. So that's the first thing first. So I don't know. Actually, I read through all the applications, and for a fact, I can say that not everybody, right, who's listening to me will actually be able to feature in this project. Though I have deliberately created a tie or a model to say, okay, maybe accommodate everybody, but the destination where we're going is not actually going to be everybody in the long run, because there are some key things that we must understand, and that's why it's important that you watch. I mean, you stay with me in this lecture to the very end, because we need to understand the basics and be able to know where we are going to. We're trying to become wealthy, right? Stay wealthy, because there's actually a difference between making money, all right, keeping the money that you make, and actually multiplying the money. Those are three folds, right? There are three folds to it. You must learn to make money. That's the first part. Then you must learn and know how to keep that money, right, for good sustainability. And then you must learn how to multiply that money. Okay, so you must learn how to multiply that money. So, like I was saying earlier, you cannot invest what you do not have, right? You need a daily cash flow, whether it's a salary, a side also a business. You must have money entering your hands every day or every week, right? It is when you now have this, we can now talk about probably maybe your seed, having now getting your seed, not eating your seed and all. But the first rule of thumb is that there must be, there must be a daily cash flow, right? There must be a daily cash flow. So, and this class is not actually what to teach us how to make money or no, but then it's to first set up that principle. So if you're still struggling with your financials, like you don't have a sustainable source of income yet, then this is not entirely for you, right? So you must learn to know that you need to first have a sustainable source of income. And the golden rule for me, and when it comes to anything, the golden rule is, if you're going to now go into the direction we are going, is that you must learn to pay yourself first, right? You must learn to pay yourself first. And that is the bedrock of our Sigma, philosophy. All right. You must learn to pay yourself first. You must learn to pay yourself first. And what do I mean by this is, see, most people, they spend in this order, right? In the wrong order. They earn, they pay probably their rent, pay for their supermarkets, pay for whatever their bills, sort whatever they have to sort. And what is left, they now say, okay, let us save this. No, it means you are just working. At the end of the day, you even find out that there's nothing left. All right. But the base principle is, right, you pay yourself first. Once you earn any money that is coming into your pocket, or any money you are able to accumulate at the end of the month, okay, you deduct your own earning. You pay yourself, right? If you're a Christian, this is where you also talk about maybe paying to God first and then paying yourself. So as you deduct your tithe, as it were, you also deduct your own personal earning that you are keeping for your own future. Okay, that you're keeping for your own future. As a matter of fact, I have a rule of thumb, right? When it comes to expenses, that's I don't want to digress too much, is that you don't even spend your first generation money. You don't spend your first generation money. Any money that comes into your hand, right? You ensure that that money, there's a huge quota of that money going to make more money, right? And then you begin to now live on the children of the wealth that your first wealth has generated. But then I don't have time to explain that. But then back to what I'm saying, you must learn to pay yourself first, right? This is the Sigma way. This is my own personal philosophy. You earn, you invest, then you pay your bills, right? You earn, you invest, then you pay your bills. If you're going to be smart about it, this is what I will recommend, right? You earn for whatever portion you earn every month. The best way to go is deduct 30% first unto God and unto yourself. Okay, so you give unto God tithe, right? Actually, I do more than tithe, but then the other part, let's say 20 or 30% that is left, now you pay yourself. You put it first into your future. Okay, 10% go into your own savings for emergency funds, and 20% goes into investments into the future. Right? And this is not something that you touch when there's rainy day. This is not saving for rainy day. If you're looking to build wealth, you must understand that conversation of raining day or no raining day is not unto you. Right? But it's essential that you also have what we call the rainy day savings. That is emergency funds. Right? So treat your savings like a government tax is mandatory. Before you buy data, before you buy food, before you buy anything, right? You deduct the Sigma tax. It leaves your account. All right. Immediately, it leaves your account. You know that this is you paying into your future. And if you need extra motivation, right, you could actually label it onto your children. If you have children, right? Because this is one of the things that helped me when I started. I struggled with it. I struggled to saying I want to consistently build that savings habit. So I said, okay, this is was I asked myself, in the next 20 years, should anything happen to me, what will I leave for these children? Now, I have seen businesses fail. I have seen many other things fail. But then, what can I do that is a no-fail thing for my daughter? What can I do that is a no-fail thing? I ask myself, okay, what kind of school do I want her to attend, right? And I looked at the institution I would love her to attend is in huge numbers. And I ask myself, is what I'm doing right now, is it going to be what would be sustainable for her? Then I have to ask myself, right, how can I do it? And I set a target to say, all right, God helping me, by the time she's going to be 20, she will have at least 50 to 100 million naira in her account that she's going to start her life with. Okay, by the time she's 15, she's going to have at least 50 million naira to cater for basic and major activities of our lives, right? And how am I going to do that? Then deliberately pay her, right? Deliberately pay her monthly instead of paying her for goodies, paying her for sweets, or necessarily I pay her monthly into our future, right? And that was one of the motivations. So you must learn to build that motivation deliberately, right, in a way that you automate the decision. I mean, you automate the deduction, right? If you wait, truth is that the money will be gone. The money will be gone. And one of the things that we're going to do as we grow again is I'm going to actually teach us how we'll do these things. I'm going to teach us, the savings model that I use. I use PiggyVest and I automate it daily savings, right? I use Optimum Lock, right? I mean, it's now Bluetooth the new. I use Bamboo, those things. Now, you must deliberately, it's a deliberate decision, right? Every day now, I have a daily deduction of about, is it 2,000 naira from PiggyVest? Automatically, just deduct it, right? I was using CarryWise at a time also doing the same thing. So, in case your card does not allow that auto debit, we are still going to make provisions for you to guide you. So, but you must make that conscious decision and know why you are making that decision. Okay, so it's very, very important, and because that is the core principle. That's the core principle that is going to build your life, right? And now let me also now share something very important with us. Now, the magic, right? I'm not sure I remember this correctly, but then it was said that compound interest is it the eighth wonder in the world? Yeah, I think that was it. I'm not sure. Yeah, the eighth wonder in the world. The eighth wonder in the world, right? The eighth wonder in the world is compound interest. It's compound interest. I'm going to show us something with my one of my tables tonight. But before that, let's just look at this analysis. Right? If I offered you $1 million today, I offer you $1 million today, and I say, okay, or you take a penny, a magic penny that multiplies every day. So 1 cent that multiplies every day. You know, one person, day one, he has $1 million. The other person, he just has 1 penny. And what is 1 penny? 1 penny is just like how much is that? That's like 10 cents. Right? So it's just like saying one person has 1 million naira and that person has 10 kobo. So now this is the principle. The principle is to say the person that has 10 kobo, that 10 kobo multiplies, right, every day. Whatever is in his hands, it multiplies every day. Right? It multiplies every day. So look at the rule. Humanly speaking, it doesn't make sense to go for 10 kobo. Right? But then if you look at it mathematically, you sit down with it on compound interest, you find out that by the second day, the only person has 20 kobo. The third day, the person has 40 kobo. The fifth day, the person has 1 naira. The sixth day, the person has 2 naira. The fourth day, the person has 4 naira. Right? Now, by the 10th day, the person only has just $5.1 after 10 days. And the person that picked $1 million naira is already $1 million naira rich. Day 20, look at it again. And that funny part is that by the 20th day, after 20 days, the person that picked that penny, that picked that magic penny, still looks like he made a very foolish decision. Why? Because after 20 days, he still only has just 5,242 naira. After many days now, after still, after 5,000, I said after 20 days, he only has 5,342 naira. Just imagine that. Now, if it were you, what would you think of that person? If it were you, what would you think of such decision? Right? Now, it looks very foolish. Very, very foolish. But yet, look at it. After 30 days, what do we have? Welcome, Emmanuel. Right? After 30 days, what do we have? Yeah, we have $5.3 million. So, what option was better? Right? Is it instant cash or the compounding one? Now, humanly speaking, it's very clear. The compounding one is better. But this is the principle I actually want us to learn from this. Is that it's not always easy. If you had stopped at day 10, after just $5, you have lost. In fact, if you stop at day 20, when the compounding effect is just about to take, right? It's just about to take effect. You are still at loss. You are still at loss, at huge loss. But say you stay to the end. You stay to the end, you stay till day 30. Then you start to enjoy it. Now, what's the lesson here is that, see, the explosion of compound interest happened in the last few days. All right? Many people who quit, you want to go into investment and you quit after 3 years. You are just like the person quitting at day 20. You have not allowed the compound effect to kick in. You have not allowed the compound effect to take effect. Right? So, and this Sigma guide are for people who are willing to wait till maturity, who are willing to wait till compound effect begin to take effect on their money. Right? So you save. Now let me show us something else again. There's something else I want to show us. There's a compound interest calculator that I saw and then I use, and it's really intrigued me a lot. Let me share with us. Let me share with us. I'm coming. Okay. Okay, so now this is a compound interest calculator that I use. I hope you all can see my screen.
Yes, I can see.
Good. Great, right? Now, so now let's say your initial investment, let's say you even start from zero, right? And then you invest. Now, let's say this is your regular contribution. You invest 10,000 naira, right? Every month. You invest 10,000 naira every month at it is annual increase deposit. But let's leave annual increase deposit first. Let us just look at, okay, let's say for 10 years. And then the interest rate is, let's even say just the normal 16% interest rate. So let's say the normal 16% interest rate. So now let's calculate. How much would you have at the end after 10 years? Now, can anybody make a wide guess of how much it will be after 10 years? Anybody want to make a wide guess? After 10 years, how much it will be? 10,000 naira monthly for 10 years. Who wants to try?
Just shows the results on the screen.
You said?
I think just shows the results on the screen.
Abby? All right. Now, simple, right? After 10 years, you have 2.9 million. Okay. Now, this is actually your total deposit. Your normal savings. Your normal savings. Now, this is the interest accrued after 10 years. Right? And this is something that you're just saving. You're just saving. Right? Total time weight return. Yeah. This is your total time. Let us now look at the charts. Let's look at the table to see how it moves. Now, this is it. This is year one. You saved 10,000 naira monthly. You have a total of 120,000. Okay, just ignore the dollar sign, right? So you have a total of 120,000. Your interest at 16% interest rate is 9,000. This is for the first year. The second year, the same applies. Right? The same applies. Now, look at it. It doesn't look significant as it were, even yet. Now, look at when the third year and the fourth year, it doesn't look as though your savings and your total return, there's any significant difference. It doesn't look as though there is. But then, let us now look at how it begins to, where the multiplying effect begins to take place. Look at the sixth year. See the difference in the return within the sixth year and then the fifth year and the sixth year. Now look at this. Now, can anybody take a wild guess? Let's using this now. Just take a wild guess what it will look like in 20 years. What do you think the return will be in 20 years? Anybody take a wild guess?
I think it should be around 5 million, if I'm guessing right.
5 million if you calculate right. Okay, fine. Okay, let's check it. Wula. What do you say? Emmanuel,
17. I'm saying
17
17.
million.
Yes.
And you assume probably maybe 5 million. Now, what you were doing was probably multiplying it by 2. It doesn't obey multiplication. It obeys geometric. Right? That's it. It obeys geometrics, not necessary. Now, so your total deposits, I think my network did not load. Should give us other statistics here. Okay. Now, total interest earned. Your total deposits actually, your total deposits would be around how much now? Will be around 1.2, will be around 2.4. You know, actual money that you would have saved. If you are just saving 30,000 naira for 20 years, the actual money you would have saved up would have been, let's say, 2.4 million. But because you are doing that consistently, continuously, for 20 years, you have 17 million. I mean, you have a total interest of 40 million on 2.4 million. That's the beauty of compound interest. Here is okay. I think here is okay. Brought it down, right? Your total deposits is 2.4 million, and you have an interest of how much? 14 million. Now let's imagine that every year you are increasing your savings every year by let's say maybe 10%. Yeah. Let's say you are increasing it. Let's say you are increasing your total deposits every year by 10%. Now, let us look at what you will have. So that is to say, if every year you are saving, you're saving 10,000 naira monthly, so next year you're not saving 11,000 naira, right? The following year you increase it by another 10%. So now say by the third year you're not saving how much now? 11,000 naira. 10% 11,000 naira. That's 1,001. So that means you're not saving 12,001 by the third year. Just increase by 10% monthly, right? After 20 years. Now, just imagine how much do you think you would have? Let me shock you. 30 million. That's the effect of compound interest, right? That's the effect of compound interest. So, you must just learn to understand that wealth building is a long-term game. Wealth building is a long-term game. Look at it. By the 5th or the 6th year, it doesn't look like a big deal. Doesn't look like a big deal, right? Even in the 10th year, it doesn't look much of a big deal. This is the 10th year. It doesn't look much of a big deal. Now, by the time you now begin to move to the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th year, that's where you now begin to see the effect kicks in real good. Kicks in real good. So if you're actually going to be serious with wealth, right? One of the important things that you must learn to do, one of the important things you must imbibe into your life, into your affairs, is patience. Is patience. Is patience. You must learn to be patient to see your reward grow. You must learn to be patient to see your wealth accumulate. You must learn to be patient to see that you get results. Else, it will just be as though you are working for someone else, or you are laboring without results. You're laboring without results. So I hope we are clear. Does that make sense to us? Let me
Yes, sir.
see your thumbs if you're with me. All right, thank you. All right, thank you. Um, so moving on. Part 3, right? So this is where we're now going to be looking at the plan where we'll be putting our money, right, to grow wealth, to actually, build our capacity. Now, the vehicles, I call them the wet vehicles, right? So the vehicles where we'll be putting our money. Now, the first, I know many of you know this a lot, but I'm still going to explain it in good time, right? The first is the real estate. Now, the real estate, there's this 1 hour rule by Femi Emmanuel, using time arbitrage, that you don't buy actually in the city center, right? Where if you are trying to buy property for real estate for wet building in the city center, you are already late. You'll be buying at a very, very high price, right? Now, so he has this rule to say, yeah, I think it's Femi Emmanuel, said, find the busiest or most bubbling part of the city, right? And drive 1 hour away from it into the bush from the city center. Just drive an hour in any direction, right? Yeah, Olumide Emmanuel, thank you. Olumide Emmanuel, thank you. I kept calling Femi Emmanuel, Olumide Emmanuel, right? So you drive exactly 1 hour away in any direction, right? Until you get property you can afford. Now, anywhere you eat in your journey, right? In that 1 hour journey, anywhere, the point where you eat the 1 hour period, that particular location, right? In 10 years' time, that part will be a part of that city, right? That part will become where is a bush today, right? There is a 1 hour drive today. In 10 years' time, that place will be 20 minutes drive from that city. As a matter of fact, could end up becoming 10 minutes drive from that city because of new roads and sprawls. All right. What is bush today is the suburb of 2036. So, how you turn cheap land into millions without lifting a finger, that is it. Right now, it's a very principle that I've seen play out with track record in almost every area, right? What is a bush today is a gold mine of 2036. So now, one of the places we'll be looking at, one of the vehicles we'll be looking at to, build our wealth and all is in this area of real estate. Is in this area of real estate. Now, not just land buying, all right? One of the other things we'll also be looking at again is house flipping, right? There's this Airbnb principle model that I actually tried out last year. Right now, there are two models to it, right? It could be flipping, it could be Airbnb, right? This flipping, one of my boss was into it last year. He did it a lot and did good numbers. And I think Goodness Miracle of Valencia Schools actually is very, very, very big on this. Now, I learned all this from them. Now, he said you buy like maybe an ugly house or any house now, and then you revamp it. You fix the roof, fix the paint, add value to it, and you sell it for profit. So you buy a house, probably dilapidated house, rebuild it, revamp it, and resell it. Okay. Another model is the Airbnb model, right? Instead of saying you are renting, you are probably renting a house to live in, or you are buying a house to stay in, or whatever. You could rent a house, right? You could rent a house, furnish it, right, and put it out for short lets. Or you could buy the house, furnish it, refurbish it, and put it out for shortlets, right? Instead of saying you are renting to a tenant for 1 year and they are paying you 300,000 and you have to complain. Now, equip the house, let it out for rent. I mean, for not for rent now, for shortlets, right? You could houses, for example, in Ibadan and Lagos now, shortlets go for, even the lowest you get for a shortlet for 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom apartment right now is 70,000 naira for a 2-bedroom apartment. For a 3-bedroom apartment, you have something like 95,000 naira per night. Those are the cheapest you will get. So do the math. Say you have, just 3 nights in a week. That's approximately, for a 2-bedroom, that's about 200,000 naira per week, right? Multiply that by 50 weeks in the year. Do the maths, right? So we're talking in millions here now, huge millions, not something that you could you get on a regular basis. Not on a regular basis. But here now, with the flipping, you could easily get that anytime. That's 100 million just in a year in revenue. So look at it if you're able to put in effort to that for multiple houses. So that's just one of the models. Okay. All right, but then this requires capital, right? And that is why we have the phase 2 of the guide. Now, the first phase is for us to, invest in shares. And that's the last part. I'll talk about it. But then build our savings habits, build our consistency, right? Before we be able to enter into the second phase. Now, anybody who's going to enter the second phase would have journeyed with us for minimum 6 months. Okay, we're going to go to that. So let me quickly rush because time is of essence. I've taken close to. All right, so the other parts we're looking to go into again is the shield, right? Protections, right? When you want to build wet, you must have the wet shields. And this is where those precious metals comes in, gold and silver. We're going to be looking at recommendations into gold and silver. When currency dies, gold has been the measure of wealth. Is the God's money. Gold is God's money. It is insurance. See, inflation and all that may eat naira or gold or whatever. In fact, why dollar is one of the strongest currency in the world is because it is benched on gold, heavily benched on gold. All right. So a ounce of gold, right, buys the same amount of bread today, right, as it did 2,000 years ago, right? So gold protects, your currency. It protects your wealth from dying. If naira dies today, gold is a very, very sure guide, right? Gold, silver, and those precious metals, they are always on the increase. They are stable. They are, they are reliable. They are very, very reliable, very, very reliable source of, protecting one's wealth. But then those are things we'll be looking at in the future as we begin to grow our wealth, as we begin to scale and become bigger than what we are right now. So, and then the ETFs, right? ETF is the basket because ETF is just more like buying a tiny share of the top 500 companies in the United States of America, right? So this is not gambling, right? You buy the basket of wealth. So instead of betting on one company, you could buy an ETF, right? And even if one company fails, there are 499 other major companies in America that are your shit. And this was the last part before I explain in details the Sigma guide. Now, here we talk about stocks, right? Now, stocks. One of the things that makes stocks beautiful for me is the sense of ownership, the ownership tickets. I've invested in so many in this my short time on this earth. I have done several businesses. At least I've done nothing less than 5 to 6 businesses that I've seen fail, right? And I've partnered with so many people that have failed at it. And truth be told, if I had this knowledge that I have now, and I put them into stocks or shares, and I'm patient enough, I'm telling you sincerely, I would have been far better. Now, What stocks does to you is it's not just you buying. You know, when people just think of buying shares so that they earn money, no, you are buying ownership. You are buying ownership, right? You are buying a seat at the table. You are buying a seat at the table. This is actually where we start, right? You are becoming a legal owner of that company. I can't remember who shared this particular principle that I want to talk about now. I was listening to a podcast. Oh my god. I don't know if it's Grant Candor, right? I'm not sure, but I think it's Grant Candor because it's one of the podcasts I listen to very much. Now, he said something that one of the brands he buys the most, right, which is Samsung's. One of the reasons why he buys that brand is because he's paying himself. Said he does not, how will he be patronizing you and then he'll be taking money from you and he doesn't get money back from them, right? So he said he made a principle to say he doesn't buy a major asset from any company he does not have a stake in. So to say, if he's going to buy anything worth, I think his benchmark was $1,000. So if he's going to buy anything worth $1,000, I think it's $8,000 or $10,000 from anywhere, he must have a stake in the organization. So if he's going to buy an Apple phone or an Apple laptop, right, and it's costing him over $1,000 to buy it, I'm not sure if it's 1,000 or 10,000, but I just get the core principle. And it's going to cost him, for example, let's say $1,000 to buy it, then he must have a share in that company. He must have a stake in that company. That is what makes him confident enough to put in his money into it. To put his money into it to say he wants to buy it. Why? Because he is going to get back from that thing. And I remember some years ago when I used to major heavily on affiliate marketing. I still do affiliate, but then major on affiliate marketing at that point. Anytime I want, it feels offensive for me to want to buy a course without getting the affiliate link. So instead of me to buy the course, for example, the course is 50,000 naira, I now hunt for my friend or people around me who who either have an affiliate link of that course so that I will buy it through them. Why am I doing that? Is because I want to save money, right? So if the affiliate share of that course is, say, 30%, at the end of the day, I will buy that course at 70%. Or I could bargain with my friend to say, okay, don't worry, you get the affiliate link, I buy, we share your affiliate profit. So at the end of the day, I'm saving 15% off it. That's the same mentality. At the end of the day, so that's the same mentality. How would I be investing money to say I'm buying LG, I'm buying LG TV, buying LG this, buying LG that, whereas I don't have share in LG. I don't have an investment in LG. LG is just taking my money. So there should be something that they are giving to me back or as a return that makes me to say, okay, I'm buying myself. All right. And I don't know if all of us have heard this story, but then it's popular at a time, and it's one of the prayers I pray. And actually, it must be part of your own philosophy also, where you do things. Now, there's the story of a guy who entered into a restaurant and everybody were greeting him in the restaurant, were telling him, oh, and then you are nice, you're looking good. And there was an old man by the corner who didn't even pay attention to him, probably maybe accidentally or whatsoever reasons. So he got offended, right? That man did not greet him. Didn't the man know that he's a rich guy? He came with a big car and all of that. So he said, okay, everybody in the restaurant, he buys a bottle of wine for them, except that man in the corner. So he expected the man to be angry or feel, oh, why you not buy for me? The man did not even bother. Rather, the man sent him a message and say, oh, thank you. He got angry that, okay, I will show you Pepe. He bought another order of foods and everything. The man wanted to buy small drinks. He said, no, don't sell to that man. Everything. In fact, I want to buy everything. And he bought everything in the restaurant. The man was not even able to buy his own drink anymore. You said?
I said God should send that rich man to me.
All right. So now, right? Okay, you know the story. So at the end of the day, the old man did not get angry, and then he stand up and went to him and say, "Oh, thank you." He got furious and he had to ask somebody, "Who is this man? He's not even angry. He's not jealous." He now told him, right? Can anybody guess who the old man is? Just make a wild guess. If you know the story before, Andrew, I think you know the story, so don't talk. Who wants to make a wild guess?
The business owner.
Is the business owner, right? He's actually business owner. So, it's funny. Now, he thought he was doing the man harm, but then he was actually doing him a favor. So the same thing. Many of us complain, MTN is, I'm recharging so amount. The day I calculated how much I spent monthly on airtime and data in this country, it dawned on me that it's time that this organization must begin to pay me back. They must begin to pay me back. And it is a pointer to you that, right, ownership in such kind of organization like, telecommunication shows that you are in for money for life, because it is such that even you yourself, you spend money on almost for life as long as the technology has come to stay. Right? So that's the philosophy and principle you must bring into the share ownership. When you come in to say you want to buy stocks, you must not just see it as buying stocks for as a business or quick return. That's why I start from the beginning to say it's not you trying to make money from this package you are building, but you're trying to build wealth, keep wealth, and multiply money. All right. So, and that's what causes building wealth. So, and there are two models to it, and those are the models we'll be looking to pursue, right? The dividends part and then the capital gains part. What do I mean dividends, right? Dividends is the cash payments that's maybe the yearly return for holding the stock. I think MTN, Okumu, Prescon are some of the best paying dividends organizations in Nigeria at the moment. They pay 14%, right? Capital gain is like the meat rather. These are looking at businesses that have potential to grow. It's just like Bitcoin. Some years ago, Bitcoin was selling as low as $100. In fact, what am I saying? $5, but nobody showed interest in it. But then today, it's close to $100,000. Same thing with shares, right? You could look at organizations that I know that these ones have potential to grow. I think as at 2019, I had Tesla share was selling at less than $100, and I had a whole Tesla share. I think I have 5 Tesla share at that time, right? Today I have less than a share. Okay, I think I have 1.25 shares today. 1.25 shares today. I wasn't patient enough, right? And that my 1.25 share is not actually from that single share at that time. But if I had kept it from then till now, you can imagine how much my shares will be worth. Tesla share today is very, very huge. One of the biggest money. And that's what Elon Musk now, if you know the gap between first and second, you can buy a stake in it. You can be part of that growth. Okay, and that is where our major activity is going to be. Okay, so that's where our major activity is going to be. Now, we're going to be running a kind of a tier system, right? Based on our responses, I've built, a model that accommodates almost everybody, right? And the model is simple to help us grow as individuals, to help us grow as persons. I know the fact that you choose to fill the form, you choose to be on this call, shows that you are interested in building your wealth, shows that you are interested in your growth. And I'm not willing to actually leave anybody behind, but it's also important that we keep the structure of this system. We don't want a system that fails. We are trying to build something for a long time. Then we must have the right people in it. Not just having the right people in it, we must also have the right structure to sustain it. Right? We must have the right structure to sustain it. And that is why we have to build a tire system, right? So that not to cut off anybody and say, I'll be going. No, we watch ourselves and then put up a grading system that says, okay, if you meet up so metrics over time, you'll be qualifying, you'll be growing, and all of that. So I'm going to send us a mail after now, right, explaining the tire system very well, right, and also send us more like a recap of this meeting so that you understand everything I've said. Now, the tire system is going to, the first tire, which is actually the core, the guide itself, right? Those are investment ready. The goal is that you have a fixed savings structure. You already have a savings and emergency fund. Why? Because if you don't have an emergency fund, when you are in trouble, you go and break bank of your investments. You withdraw your money from day 5 or day 20, right? You will not wait for it to compound. So that's why emergency fund is very important. So you must build that savings culture. We are going to guide you to build that. And monthly, the goal is that monthly you must have, I talked about it earlier, the Sigma tax. You're paying yourself. You must pay yourself automatically. We're going to have a secretary, right? Body is our secretary. Now, she was going to follow up and ensure that everybody in the guide, right, invest minimum $10 monthly, right? That's the minimum quota. You can do much more. We're going to follow up to ensure that you invest that monthly consistently. And I must say this as a rule of thumb. If you missed 2 months consistently, right, you are out of the guard, automatically out of the guard, right? As a matter of fact, if you miss the first month, we expect you that before the next month completes, you chop up, right? You cover for that deficit within the window, because you're going to have an investment window, right, which is going to be on the 5th of every month. On the 5th of every month, we're going to drop our recommended shares in the gas group, right? And we expect that within 5 days of dropping those, you should, at least between day 5 and day 10 of that month, you should buy your shares, right? You should invest in. If you are not doing that, at that period, we'll follow up. We expect that before the 5th of next month, you must do it, all right? And then you'll be on probation, we'll be watching you. Should you now miss that twice, or a month goes, a complete month goes, and you did not invest, then we might actually probably drop you to tier 2. Because we want discipline, we want structure, and we don't want you to discourage others. Because it's easy when everybody knows that everybody else is doing it. So I started this journey before, and it was left with just me alone. If at the end of the day, I'm left with just me, then no problem, right? Because if we want to grow to phase 2, where we are buying wet vehicles, we are buying real estate, we are buying properties, we are buying ETFs, we are buying precious metals, and we aim to do this together, right? Or probably look at other businesses and we aim to do this together, then we don't want to do it with people who are not disciplined, right? See, because this is not about an emotional thing. It's about reality, what works, and what is stable and what is sustainable. Okay, so and that is why this is important for us. So the tier 2, the tier 2 now, these are people who I figured that based on the responses that still need to build a level of consistency in their savings, right? They have savings, but then it's not consistent. So try to say, okay, build a consistency in it. Now, these ones, right? The difference is just that you are allowed, right? We'll build a system of savings. The plan is to use PiggyVest, or so to build a quarterly savings habit for you, such that your own investment in stocks is going to be quarterly. It's going to be quarterly. So instead of putting the obligation on you to invest in stocks monthly, all right, you'll be investing in stocks quarterly. All right. So, and if you build that habit consistently over 6 months, right? Over 6 months, then we upgrade you to the guard. That is, you have a full savings. So this one, I call it the apprentice, right? Your goal is to have 2 things. Build a savings culture. So you are going to have 2 savings now. The savings, right? And also for your wealth. So at the end of the quarter, you're going to divide your savings into two. One will go into your investment, and the other will remain in your emergency savings plan. So that is the goal. And the foundation, these ones, there is no need to look at shares at all. The first one is these people, you just need to first build a good savings habit and also get out of debt, right? So, and all of this, I'm going to actually be patient, right, to take personal time to give you consulting. The fact that you are here, right, I'm going to give you that time. As long as you show the energy, you show the effort, guide you on how to get out of debt and how to build personal savings. So after this call, like I said, I will send a personalized report based on, the form that we filled, right, the application that we submitted. I will send it to each and every one of us, telling us where we stand. And when we have our personal one-on-one conversations, there are still some that I feel are in the apprentice group that probably maybe when we have that one-on-one conversation, we might end up moving to the gout. Maybe you answer the question based on some fear or so. So that will help us better. But at the end of the day, the goal is that we want to ensure that we are building wealth and we are growing effectively. And I also want to say this. Unfortunately, some people are not in this meeting. They are not in this group. But on this call, I want to say that nobody is going to join, right, us, except you go through this video. You're going to watch this video tutorial. It's a must. That's just it. So, is a structured thing, is a model, right? And as I close, I want to say, truth is, right, words can be boring. That's one thing I have learned, right? Words can be boring. Words can be boring, right? It is doing the same small things over and over again until compound interest kicks in. And that is why we call it sigma, the submission, right? So if you are looking for excitement, you are looking for quick money, right? Go and do CBS, go to gambling, Bet Nigeria, and all of that are there, right? And many people are even starting businesses that are also gamblers. But if you are looking for freedom, then you're welcome. You're welcome. So, and that is what this journey is all about. That is what this journey is all about. So, I will take a pause here. I think I'm already over an hour already. But so let me pause here and take questions. Let me pause here and take questions. So, any question?
No question for now.
Okay.